In our last episode, we took a break from the boat and went hiking, saw a Christmas parade, and prepared for our Gulf crossing. Now, back to the adventure. We're getting ready to leave Port St. Joe for the first time in a little bit over a month, which is pretty cool. And
I'm excited.
And we're crossing the Gulf today. It's about 6 in the morning, maybe 5:30 or 6, and it's about time to head out.
But it's cold. Beautiful day for sailing. Just starting to warm up right now. You can see Cape San Blas behind me. We'll be rounding that here in the next, half an hour. Hopefully we'll put the main and the jib up and we'll pretty much be on a run around the Cape San Blas shoals, and then we'll point about 191 degrees south to Clearwater, Florida, at which point we'll make a decision based on the weather forecast whether to continue or not all the way to Dry Tortugas, or to stop in for the night and anchor, or stop at a marina and sleep. So we finally got the sails up and turned the motor off, which is fantastic. We're making 5.5 miles an hour, so that's like about 5 knots. Currently we're on a very broad reach. A little tricky right now because I have this big Cape San Blas behind me, and it's preventing me from basically pointing more to the east. Right now I'm almost pointing dead south, and there's a pretty strong, pretty large, probably like a 5-foot westerly swell right now. And what it's doing is it's causing our sails to flap when the boat lists over, when it's kind of riding down the swell. And that, screws up the total aerodynamics of the sail. So what I'm doing is just kind of pointing as low as I can right now to try to get more onto a beam reach so that our sails will fill more fully, and we shouldn't have that issue. We'll have more pressure to keep the boat steady. The forecast models did say that the wind was going to be dying throughout the day, and that's pretty much exactly what it's doing. We had, about a steady 15, maybe a little more than 15 this morning, and then right now we probably have, 10 at our stern, or maybe it's still 15, but it does feel like it's dying a little bit. Hopefully as we head offshore, we'll catch a little bit of offshore breeze that hopefully is going to be a little stronger. We'll see. It's just really hard with this swell. We've got like a 3 to 5 foot swell coming pretty much the opposite direction of the wind. And the wind is light, variable, 5 knots or less at times. And so the sails just flap as we rock the waves. I've turned the autopilot off and I'm just sailing the boat now, trying to take advantage of any puff we get. Reluctant to turn the motor on. We have no desire to go to a marina, and I'd rather sit out here all day and bob than go to a marina to fill up gas when we get there. So this really is perfect sailing weather. I think the only thing I would change would be the temperature, and I'd make it just a little bit warmer. But we are headed south where it is warmer, so it's not so bad. There's about 10 knots of breeze right now, which is just perfect. Hey guys, here we go.
Oh my gosh!
Oh hey!
Hey!
They're like, we see you, we're gonna come play with you.
Oh my gosh.
Are you guys going up to the bow? Where are you guys going, huh? Oh, they're right here? Oh yeah. Hey guys! Hi! Hi guys! Hey. So when I installed the anchor, the bow light, our bow light, got obscured on the left side, so the boat to our left will not be able to see us after it goes dark.
That doesn't sound good.
No, so I got some duct tape or some electrical tape, and I'm gonna raise it up a little bit.
So RJ is fixing some things, presumably before the sun goes down. And we finally have some wind. And I read a little bit of a learning how to sail book today. And it's just been beautiful. Now that I no longer feel seasick, which I did for the first, 75% of the day. And the dolphins came out and excited me. And the sun going down is beautiful. And life is grand.
Oh, we need to hit the sails. Trim them in. See how it's flapping?
Yeah.
It's because the wind all of a sudden is starting to veer out of the southwest more.
Yeah.
Which is where we're coming from, or where we're going, excuse me. So yeah, the wind's going to be out of there. So we're going to be on a beat all night.
That's a good thing, right?
I'd rather be on a beam reach, which is what we were on, because you just felt how pleasant and comfortable and fast it was.
Yeah.
The problem with a beat, or anything that's close to close hauled, is you have a lot more force, so a lot more heeling, a lot more noise. There's more stuff going on, more pressure on the lines. Good morning. I don't even know what day it is. It's Thursday. It was a long night. The forecast was saying that they were forecasting, 15 to 20 miles an hour, I think, out of the west, which would have been great because we would have been on a beam reach to where we were going pretty much. However, it ended up being 20 to 25, maybe even 25 to 30 out of like the south, which is, we were pretty much going south. So we weren't necessarily beating, but we were certainly close reaching. And the waves ended up pretty darn big. Thankfully the wind veered overnight. We also decided to shorten our course just because it was really uncomfortable. The wind's pretty much died down to like 15 knots right now, and it's veered like 90 degrees, but you can still see that I've got like probably about 6 foot waves right now. During the middle of the night, probably about like 2 in the morning, something like that, when they were at their peak, it was probably blowing 30. I had the main double reefed and I had only maybe like 5 feet out on the jib, and I ended up taking the main down and then letting a little bit more out in the jib. And we were doing like 9 miles an hour or something like that. So we were hauling ass, and the boat was just violently rocking back and forth. So that created somewhat of an uncomfortable night for Sydney and I. There was water getting in between the deck and hull joint up in the bed where she is because the waves were hitting so hard, it was just squirting in. I don't know if the bolts weren't tight enough or there just wasn't enough like packing material in there. She wakes up, her feet are wet, so then we have to get her situated in a bed somewhere else on the boat. And then of course, trying to feed ourselves something was pretty difficult as well. But it sure is beautiful this morning, and I think it's gonna get better as the day goes on. I think the swell's gonna lay down, and I think this wind should hold. Only trouble is we're probably gonna get into port like right at sunset. So we'll see what happens there.
So like 1 million dolphins just came out to play. already 10 surrounding our boat, and there's more coming. So I had one of the roughest nights of my life, but these dolphins are a great good morning surprise. Because I just got out of bed. Even though RJ probably had a much harder night than me. But dolphins are great! Been on launch for a few hours now, and the sun is setting, and it's absolutely beautiful. We originally considered going all the way to Dry Tortugas from Port St. Joe, but because I was feeling sick, RJ had to stay up for a really long time, so now he's super exhausted, so I'm letting him sleep for a few hours before we anchor for the night south of Tarpon Springs, which is by Clearwater is where he's planning on anchoring, and then continuing on the next day and kind of darting off really far. No sunset dolphins tonight, but that's all right. So the sun is officially down, and just after it set, I looked over and I saw land. Not really land, but I saw a bunch of lights on the land. So I decided I'm going to try to see if we have reception, and I now have 2 bars. So I'm going to text my mother and RJ's parents that we crossed the Gulf safely. And we're both super awake right now, and we don't really feel like anchoring in the dark in a place that we don't know, so it actually seems safer to just keep going. It's been like 36 hours since we started. We started at 7 a.m. yesterday, and it's 7 p.m. today. And why not keep going?
So our passage thus far has lasted about 40 something hours. We've decided to go into an area just north of Tampa Bay. Basically, it was too rough to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and I'm exhausted. I haven't really slept much to speak of in the last, 2.5 days. Time to drop the hook and get some sleep. Oh yeah, and the wind was opposing us. It's coming out of the south, and we're trying to go south. And there's like 5-foot waves or like 7-foot waves. It's just a little too much. So we're just gonna go spend a night or maybe 2 and get ready to go again. This is the sailboat Patches calling Sydney. Would Sydney please relieve the guy who's driving me? He's about to fall asleep. Again, this is the sailboat Patches calling Sydney. Over.
It's a little bit after 7 a.m. going on hour 49 of our passage, and we're outside St. Petersburg and heading in to look for an anchorage for some R&R. The sun is rising, and we're staying on the lookout for crab pots. We have just anchored right as the rain started. It's just drizzling a little bit right now. And now I'm inside. It's time to clean up a little bit. And I just wanted to show you kind of what happened to the boat while we were sailing. Here's this area over here, not too bad. Kind of the area where we put things to stay protected, like the iPad, and that's where we set the camera down. This is our table, which was there to make this a big bed, but it slid off while I was sleeping on it. So we folded it up and put it up there so that it wouldn't smash my feet. This is kind of where we slept when we needed to. And this is kind of where lots of stuff ended up accumulating. All this stuff over here stayed pretty good, didn't fall over. The one thing that was so sad that it kind of fell over and broke is this net, which is usually hanging like all the way across up here, but I think we overfilled it with a little bit too much heavy stuff. And it didn't fully break, just a little bit, but we have another one, so we should put two up and split the weight probably. There was some stuff back here, which some of it ended up here, some of it ended up on the floor. And this is just all of our clothing that we had been wearing, but now it's warm, so we have to put it away. I already cleaned up a few things on the bathroom floor that had fallen. I don't know if RJ mentioned this in a video yet or not. Oh, all my clothing is fallen over. That's good. Just the stuff that didn't fit in the bins. That's not that big of a deal. But this whole part of our bed, starting from here back, so like these shirts are soaked. Like, look at this shirt and this shirt. It's supposed to be this color gray, and it's this color gray, so it's soaked. So the bed's soaked because there's water leaking in from over there down the side, getting on the bed, and then our bed's basically just a huge sponge, so it soaked it up completely. So now it's time to clean up a little bit.
I'm eating everything. Well, you can see where my finger went into the cream cheese. And I, bit it. And some more of this. Peppers. Pepper jelly. Olives. Cream cheese.
We didn't give ourselves long to recuperate in St. Petersburg, as we just wanted to keep moving south. After one sunset, some tidying up, and a lot of napping, we were ready to point our bow to the south and continue onward.